Good morning, legends and super legends. We're going out for just a short ride today. We're going to see how impacted the areas are that we used to ride in. I'm meeting, you can just mic with me. I'm meeting Paul and Christian. Those are the two that have confirmed. It's almost 7 o'clock. We're supposed to meet at 7. I'm running a little behind, but we're going to meet and just check out the area. This is my second day on the bike since this storm came by. I was just otherwise preoccupied and really did one day on the trainer for an hour, just easy. And then I'm going to ride today. And next week I'll get back into my regular schedule. But I hope you guys have been on the bike and be getting your miles in. And so we'll try to get some clips and keep you posted. I'm using a stabilizer today. In fact, that's what this camera's on right now. It's just sitting. And hopefully we'll be able to see the difference in the clips that we get today. I'm going to go ahead and get ready. Legends, just roll outside. I'm running a little behind, so I'm gonna head out. Looking up with Paul. Christian's supposed to join us too. I'm using a stabilizer on the bike for the first time. It's a little clunky, big piece of equipment. So, trying to see. See how it cancels out the jumpiness of having this on the handlebar. I have it in pan mode. I think that's the best mode for on-bike filming. It basically goes left to right. Jeez. It's very nice this morning. It might be like 20C or 19C, I'm guessing. All the humidity, I thought it'd be real sticky today after the storm. It's the opposite. We've got a lot of dry air. So we've got wind from the north, I believe. Usually we have a lot of rain, it's very humid, but the humidity's gone. It feels almost like an early winter's morning, nice and dry. Gotta let myself get into this ride because my body's in kind of a shutdown mode. Biggest thing about this stabilizer that I see is that the camera not only pans smoothly, but it holds its position. If I flick my hand, the camera doesn't jump. So I can't wait to see the footage when I get back to confirm everything I'm observing. This stabilizer comes with its own stick per se. What I've done is, since it's designed to work with GoPro attachments, I've attached it to a 3-way stick, and so we have the flexibility of using our stick, which can give you a far view like that. So we're not just stuck with the short stick that comes with it. We can shorten it if we need to, but we can get more viewpoints. It's a lot heavier than the regular stick. It's about 400 grams, which is almost close to a pound. But I'm hoping that the improved pictures we're going to get will make a difference. It's in pan mode, meaning it automatically pans like the human eye, from left to right. They have 3 modes: pan mode, fixed mode. I'll do a full review later in the week as time permits. And I want to welcome our newest super legend, Gabrielle, in Florida, Jacksonville. Our newest super legend. She's a Lion Pride, and she's riding today, doing an 80K ride. And I hope that she has a lot of fun today. I don't see anybody here, but I know they're coming. Turn. It's Christian. I got some new glasses. Christian has a company, and I don't know if he's ready for me to do a review or not. These glasses I'm wearing from Italy. They're about 50% less expensive, and they have the Zeiss lenses, which are better, well, just as good as the Oakley lenses. But man, they fit well, and these are photochromatic, or photochromic, I think they're called. Basically, they start out light, and when the sun comes up, it gets darker. I guess I just didn't see you. I was going to ride to pick you up there.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, where were you?
I went all the way over there to check the deal.
Oh, okay.
Because when I got here, there was no one, so I just decided to go down. And then I came back
I guess
up.
I must have missed you. Because I just passed Christian, and I was telling him I was going to go up there.
Yeah, I saw. That's why I asked him, who is that going over there?
Yeah, I didn't see you. I was going to see if you were on Spring Stubner. Yeah, that street back there was covered. You remember where we rode from my house and turned right? That was underwater. All those houses flooded. Yeah, right down the street there, they flooded. So I will show you at the stop sign to the right, there was underwater. Right there, yeah, right here, I filmed that too. Because Creek View Street is very low. The creek is right there. The creek I was showing. So right here to the right was underwater. Let's go to the right, turn right. Let me show you what I'm talking about, turn right. So you will see the debris from where that black pickup truck is. We'll go and turn left. So, let's see. You see that Volvo on the left?
Yeah.
It was underwater. That car is destroyed. Yeah, this is all. There was a tree that fell in his yard. That's what you see cut up over there. You see all this?
Yeah.
Was underwater. You see all the debris on the road?
Right.
We drove here, I parked my car, I could not go any further.
So you parked right here?
Yeah, I parked right here. You see all this was underwater. All the way you see the dirt. Yeah, the houses have been. So all of this was underwater. That Volvo was underwater. It's gonna be destroyed. These cars, that car was there, but it wasn't. This was completely underwater. This all here. You could not come down here. All here was underwater. You have to remove these things because the,
Level of water on that.
there you go. You see how high the water, look at the brick. That's how high the water goes. All of this. They already changed the door in this house. All of this was underwater, all here. And this was where I came the first day.
Right.
All of that was underwater all the way back to my street. Ooh. Yeah, and then this way was underwater. Go up this way. The water went uphill. Oh yeah. All here.
There.
Oh.
So this house, look at.
Yeah, you see the water? Look at the line. I could not come back here. I stopped over. Yeah, that's the line on the brick there. All of this was underwater. Yes, but Paul, look here too. All of this, the water came up the hill because Conroe released. That creek back there is connected to the waterway. When Conroe releases, the creek backs up. That's why you remember in my second film when you see the water line? You remember in my second film when the water had stopped moving? See the water line? Wow. All of this. Yeah, look at this house. Look up here. This is a hill, guys.
Yeah.
This is a hill. Now, it's not the rain, it's Conroe. Once they release, our creek stopped moving.
You can see the water line.
Look at the water line. And it's good that they're moving quickly. If you don't, the mold spreads. The mold, because when your house gets wet, mold, yeah, so that's why they quickly take that out, because then there's no moisture. If you say you were out of town and you leave it for a week, the mold will spread even to the dry parts. Oh yeah, all of this. That's anywhere you see. Look up here. Water doesn't usually go uphill, but the problem is when that creek fills up, see that this is creek view, the creek is behind these houses. The creek from where you enter our yard, the golf course, remember the golf course was underwater? So all of that comes here too. This is all underwater. You can see the dirt.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. I couldn't get back here, so I didn't film right here, but I stopped over there.
Come here to and I remember say, oh, nice house.
Yeah.
Probably no problem.
But we've never had this level of rain. And what happened, Christian, is in Conroe, Lake Conroe is a reservoir. So when they release the water in Lake Conroe, it comes down here. Yeah, even here. And this is a hill. Yeah, Melissa drove down here, she was telling me, when we saw the people's houses underwater, the side of that house is still, yeah, so it didn't come up this high.
This house in the corner is there.
Which one? No, it didn't come up here to this high, it stopped over there, right? This house was just past. Yeah, all of here was dry. All of this dry, this is the top of the hill. Just like when Barker released. Because what you're doing is, the creek did its job. If Conroe had not released on Tuesday, we wouldn't have had the flooding. You see? You couldn't see the golf course. You saw the film I loaded? This was all underwater. See the dirt on the grass, Christian? All underwater. That's what went in those people's yard. All here. Wherever you see the dirt was underwater. You could not come down here. I stood on the grass over there and filmed. All of this was underwater. This whole place looked like a lake. Everything was underwater. At this point, I'm speeding it up. We decided to go across the bridge here and go into the neighborhood right on the left here after the bridge. There was an evacuation, a mandatory evacuation of this neighborhood. This is about maybe 3/4 of a mile from my house. So it's pretty close. So we're checking it out before we begin the ride. So you can see this neighborhood was hit. Everybody here had to get out in here. And you can see they're back and putting out debris. I kind of sped it up because we just kind of went through, and every house here was pretty much hit. The water was at the top of their windows, even cathedral windows. It was really bad here in this area. There's a creek at the golf course that had overflowed because of the release from the dam in Conroe, Texas. So you can see all the stuff. Those are a home. If you get stuff out quickly, you can stop the damage from spreading and keep that smell out of the house. So, people who are in the know, they start ripping out sheetrock and getting things out, hire people to do them. And that's what these guys did. We even came across some of the people that were actually doing the work sitting outside today doing the work on Saturday. You can see all the debris. The whole place was hit, so it was like I just sped it up.
Leave. To the left, there's Willow Creek. The golf course to the left, that's where the river is. Yeah.
Yeah, Christian wanted to know
That's the golf course. All of that was underwater.
Where the water came from.
You see the dirt on the side of that mound? You can see the debris from the water. So they issued a mandatory evacuation for this area. Hey, killer. He's fine. So all of this is on the water. Now you know where the golf course office is? It's on the top of the hill.
Debris here on
the
the ground.
water was close to the
This place
office.
is all underwater.
Yeah, when I was filming
sand.
where the part 3 was. Yeah, that's right in front of the office where the part 3 was.
Man,
Yeah, the part 3. Remember, I was.
that office is way up.
It's on that little hill that we sprint up of. That's what I'm talking about. That's what was scary to me because it was like. So I was filming from actually on
All
the
the
golf
sand you
course
see on the
compound.
ground is from the water.
When that guy in the big truck was going across the water, I was filming from on the golf course yard.
So they had boats coming to get people out of this neighborhood on Tuesday. So yeah, we decided to just go ahead and start our ride. Enough, Christian wanted to see because he'd never been through a flood. He's new to the area. And it was just, it was just good to get out and look, people trying to get their lives back together. But this thing has been very devastating. And some of our neighbors are like, they're not rebuilding. They're like, we just finished from last year's flood. We had one last April on Creek View again. So they're like, enough. Anyway, back to cycling. So the plan today, anyway, I didn't really want to ride. Paul had called.
One more.
We're about to make a left turn here.
Okay, clear. We'll turn left here, Christian.
So Paul had called and he said, oh man, we need a ride. I was just going to take the day off. I only rode once this week on the trainer. It wasn't much. I just couldn't get into it this week. There's too much going on. But it was good to get out. So the plan was to ride short and easy. And we end up doing almost 4 hours. I'm like, that's not short. And stretches of it, Christian starts doing stuff. We'll get to it. But my plan today was, like any time you have time off the bike, you want to come back zone 1, zone 2. So my plan was not to go outside of zone 3. So here I get the camera to Paul, and you can see we hand off. You can't even tell. That's how great the Removal S1 gimbal is. And so I handed it off to Paul, and he has it. And look at the stability. I'm filming in 2K, 2.7K. I tried 4K, but it just makes such a large file, and it will just fill up your SD card. So the 2.7K is much easier to deal with. And the resolution, look at these pictures. So I figured out how to edit in a lower resolution without ruining the original media and then export in 2K using the software that I use. So it took some time. I spent a few days researching it because I had planned on doing it. Anyway, I wanted to talk about my outfit. I always tell you guys, my outfit is very dark. You see the band on the sleeves are pink, and so I got the socks to match it, and you can see how visible it is. In the summer, my skin tone gets a shade darker, so if I wear black, if I wear black socks, black shoes, black outfit, I'm not very visible. So I'm very conscious of that. So all my socks are very light, and since your feet and your legs are moving, that's where you get the visibility. You want that contrast. So if you look at Christian's outfit, he's got green, his shoes are green, his socks are green, he's picking up green from his outfit. It just looks good when you can put a kit together. So it doesn't need to be expensive, you just need to take a color out of the jersey. So that jersey has a pink sleeve and then the back, and I'm picking that up. So here I decided to just stand in the gear I'm in. I didn't want to shift. I wanted to stand for this climb. This is like a 4% thereabout. And it's short enough. So I'm trying to just stay zone 2 right here. I'm at the bottom of zone 4 already. There's a truck behind us. I'm trying to wave him by, but I think he turned on another street. Somebody was honking at him. It's a big truck. I looked ahead and saw it was clear. And you see Christian waved and I waved because somebody's coming. So that's the way you do it. When somebody waves in front of you, I wave. If somebody was behind Paul, Paul would wave too, so they can know something's on the right. So you carry it down. You don't have to do a lot of talking. I'm just coasting here in the draft and trying to let my heart rate has dropped almost 11 beats just on that descent. So, those of you who, life interferes with your training. If you've been training consistently, it takes a period of time before you lose the fitness you've gained. So even though I was off since the Saturday before, I only rode one day. I think it was like the Thursday. So almost a week off. You don't lose it that quickly, but when you come back, don't go to a race after taking off a whole week. Your body's just not ready. Do at least one ride to loosen everything up, wake your systems up before you try to do something hard. So this is the first ride back for me. And so I just decided I'm just gonna sit in today and just spin my legs and just keep things going, just ride comfortably. That was the plan anyway, but you know how that goes. So, every time the road goes up, Christian likes these hills because he's working on his power. So we're turning right here, and the grade continues, even though it'll say 0, but it continues. So we're supposed to ride short, and we're already at hour 38 because we spent time looking at the debris and all that stuff. So we really...
Why don't we go to Tomball, see what happened there?
Yep, that would be good.
Tomball usually at Ridge, 2978.
So we plan on going west today. We're going to go north and then go west to Tomball. That's the plan anyway. So the plan was to get out, check out the route, make sure nothing was underwater on the route. There are some low areas on this route, not right here in this area, but further west of here. I want to make sure that it's not still underwater.
Yeah,
The camera not moving?
right. Just steady, man.
Yeah, you can move your hands so you can relax and do what you
I mean,
need to do.
these pictures are blowing me away. Ron Ryder had mentioned about getting a gimbal, and I think Laura Ada had also put a thing on there, but I wanted to get something that would work with all these mounts. And this one is the only one that has a mount to work with, the GoPro mounts. So this was the best choice for me. I'm glad that it's working so well.
The bike slows down like a jet.
I'm teasing Christian about his carbon wheels. When he's slowing down, it makes a sound. Sounds almost like a jet. That's what I was mentioning to him.
Good.
See how he's holding Christian? That's what I'm talking about. You just put it this.
Yep.
Very comfortable. It's more balanced than here.
Right.
I don't know why.
You move.
Yeah, you have
Yes.
more flexibility and it's just stable.
Very nice.
So the gimbal adds another pound to the whole setup. It's about 400 grams thereabout, which is within 50 grams of a pound. It doesn't feel too bad. It's just when you hit certain bumps, because it's plastic, the clip is plastic that connects to the GoPro mounts, and it moves. So we're still getting acclimated, but it works really well. So Paul decided he was gonna film for a while, and Christian is asking me about it. We talked about so many different things here, and the plan was just to ride, and I figured we'd ride around 30 to 32 kilometers an hour and just kind of ease back into it. So we checked the corner here, and I'm pointing and letting Paul know that it's clear. There's a four-way stop sign in the subdivision. So my wife teases me about my pink socks sometimes, but I just like the color. I like how bright it is, especially when they have breast cancer awareness. I wear that early in the spring. I think they have it twice a year.
Yeah,
If you look at the weather, the high is supposed to be in the 80s.
We're getting a cold front next week, a cool front. Our high temperatures around midweek will be like 81, and that's unseasonably low. It's supposed to still be hot until October, November, sometimes. So I'm already planning to get some rides in since it's going to be so nice. Stagger my schedule a little bit. Kristen wants to chat. Now you see how that guy came around? He passed in the other lane just like a car. Didn't need to say on your left, because that's what a car would do. That's what I was talking about the last time. That's how you do it. We're riding casually. He's going by. You use the other lane. He gave us plenty of room. I didn't need to wonder about anything because I'm holding my line. So I don't remember what we're talking about here, but for the most part, what I want to point out here, if you look at my cadence, 72, I'm not even thinking about my cadence. I'm really focused on my effort, and right now it's like zone 1 as far as feel, and that's where my heart rate is. We're just kind of rolling along, and you can see 27 kilometers an hour. We don't have the wind behind us. You can hear it. This camera, I set it on wind only, the setting for wind only, meaning it blocks all the wind, so it lowers the wind. The wind's swirling around, and we're cruising. The point I'm trying to make is, by training consistently in certain conditions, this is a flat road and we're riding at almost, 17, 18 miles an hour, resting at 17, 18, so that is at 14, 17, 18 miles an hour. So 18 miles an hour is like a recovery ride right now for us. So now I'm in zone 2, so endurance. So let's say endurance. But that's what consistent training does. By riding every day or 5 days out of the week, that's what happens. You get it in the bank. At this point, Christian takes off. My plan, I didn't even want to ride today, so I wasn't going to follow it. I didn't know what he was doing. But Christian sometimes will do sprints and intervals during the group ride, and then he'll sit up and rest, and then so we catch up.
I'm supposed to help you solve.
So Paul and I are just talking.
Well, you're not.
And he's up the road there. Because we know he'll sit up. We found out later that he was doing sprints, and that's cool.
I told her that.
So you don't want to restrict the people in your group. This is stuff I was talking about. Even if you plan to do something steady and somebody wants to go, let them go. Once they do their interval and they're resting, you guys will catch up. The group will just come and pass. And I think that's what I did here.
Trying to lose weight.
Yep.
So we're riding right around 18 miles an hour
Anyone
thereabouts.
is in the knowing, it will tell you that.
Zone 2. And this is what I want to do today, because after a long layoff, you want to get back and get your body into the swing of things. So So I waited for that little part, and then I rolled by Christian. So when I'm riding, I'm constantly looking back. I'm going to do a video on how to look back without changing your line, without swerving. That's something I practiced over the years. We have a particular way we were taught to do it by our coach, to where you can hold a straight line and look left or right without deviating. And that's an important skill. So he was resting. He did his interval. He was resting. We caught up to him, and we just resumed what we were doing. At this point, I did not know he was doing sprints. All I knew was I wasn't going to up the pace, because I just wanted to kind of get out and loosen up the day, really. If Paul hadn't called, I probably would have taken the day off. It's just, so at this point here, I pointed left, but the left turn is about a half mile down the road. I did it early. I guess I got the thing mixed up. There's a couple of areas here, Cochrane's Crossing, that look the same, and I think I got it mixed up. So this is where I told Paul.
I've done that same mistake. Yeah. Those look like though.
I told him, I said, I did that too early. There is a left turn where Christian is now, but the road was clear, so we just stayed there. So as we're riding, even though we're talking, whoever's on the traffic side, you want to still be looking behind. That way, if there's a car coming, you know before they get up on you. So you're not a nuisance. You know, since you're sitting side by side talking, you're not really on the rivet. It's always good to be looking around so that you can kind of just slide over to the right. It just keeps the goodwill.
Okay.
So right here, if you notice,
Flipping down, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
yeah, what I'm talking about is we all clipped in on one clip. There was nobody missed the pedal or anything.
Yeah.
That's another thing I may need to do a video on, because you need to practice clipping in. You don't want to put a lot of weight on the pedal. You want to just rest your cleat in the pedal and then let gravity clip it in. Because if you put too much weight and you're not right in the right spot, that pedal, if it slips, it can spin around and hit your shin. So you don't need a lot of force to clip in. You just kind of rest your foot, get the front of the clip in. So I'll put that on the list. I need to do something about that, a video about that. Because that's something that when I met Paul, we worked on, because it would take him a while to clip in from the lights, and sometimes in group rides you end up getting gapped because you're still trying to clip in, kind of like Matt with GCN. you know, so Paul used to have headaches, but not anymore. He's got it. So at that light, we all clipped in like instantly, and I was like, man, we got it down. So at this point here, I'm monitoring my feeling and looking at my heart rate, because it's a very nice, cool morning. So everything should be realistic. So right here, I'm at the top of zone 2, going into zone 3. I'd much rather stay in zone 2. It's a slight downhill to flat road, and so we're doing about 35 kilometers, which is like 21, 22. And then Christian takes off again. So I know he's doing something. I just decided to just stay in zone 2 to zone 3 and not go outside of zone 3. Because it was a good tempo, it felt good. I was into the ride. It's almost 2 hours now we've been out here. So I just kept my same effort. So it became clear to me that Christian was either doing intervals or he was doing his sprints. I do my sprints on Tuesdays. Do it all year round. And then in the group ride, yeah, anything goes. Whatever I need to do, I do it. But today was not, the plan was not to ride hard today. I just wanted to get some miles in since I'm out anyway and wake up my body. And And I did plan to ride on Sunday. I'm doing this clip now. I actually rode, today is Sunday, and I rode for 2.5 hours today. So I just told Paul to get on me. That's what that tap means. And we just rolled by Christian, and Christian slipped in the draft. And we just holding the same effort. You just got to kind of gauge it. My legs felt a little tight most of the ride because I just had too many days off. My body likes to ride frequently. I feel best when I ride 5 to 6 days a week. I don't even need much of a warm-up. But what I was saying earlier is, if you ride for 4 weeks or 3 weeks and you ride 4 or 5 days a week, and then something comes up, whether life or you go to some event or family or whatever, don't stress over it. You don't lose it that quickly. It takes a period of time. You don't want to be off 2 weeks because then you got to kind of build back up. But whatever you put in the bank is there. So don't worry about missing a few days of training here and there. It doesn't set you back that much. Unless you're training for an event that's coming up. But just your regular riding, don't stress over it. So Christian starts to go in that car, cuts in front of us. So it wasn't too close. But that's an unprotected turn for them. And I guess he didn't see us. So Christian takes off again. I just assume, I think he's doing sprints or intervals. So that's what he's doing. So he sprints to the stop sign. He slows down. He checks. There's a parking lot on the right. There's a subdivision on the left. They put the signs of 4-way to slow the traffic. So he checked, went through, just rolled. He's basically the head of the caboose, and we're behind. So I'm just holding the same effort. Right now, 159 is like midway on zone 3 for me. So I don't want to go much harder than this. I figure I would just hold it right there, as long as we don't have a grade or anything. Because what I was planning on doing at this point, once we catch up to him, I said I'm just gonna keep the same pace and not let him rest too much. Because we're catching him quickly here. So those sprints are getting to him. He looks back, he sees us. And Paul's been following, so now I come around. I'm ready to play with him a little bit. That's what's in my mind anyway. So I come out and say, okay, I'm going to wait. As soon as he slows down, I didn't accelerate much. I just went by to keep the pace because he wanted to rest. So this road starts to go up. It says 0, but it's going up. And so I'm just holding it right at, I think it was 18, 19, something like that. Just keeping the same effort, We got the stop sign checked. Let them know it's clear. 4-way stop sign. So I stood up to keep the gear rolling, just to keep the same effort that we're doing. I figure if I don't let him rest, he won't be doing the next sprint for a while. And then I'm all, so now I'm doing this, and all of a sudden my heart rate is like 164, 165. So now I'm creeping up into zone 4, and that was not the plan. And I had to check myself. Okay, you didn't plan to ride hard today. So I stood up to keep that gear rolling. I didn't want to shift. And so there's a red light, so right now we're coasting. So we timed it right, it's green. And then we start chatting. I think this is where he told me he's doing sprints. I didn't ask, he just told me he was doing sprints. He said he had done 3 or 4 sprints at 85% of his effort. takes off again. I think this is where I told Paul that he was doing sprints. This road starts to go uphill. I'm keeping the same, just putting a little bit more force, because when we're talking back there, my heart rate dropped like 12 beats, which was cool. So we got caught here at the stop sign, so it slowed us down. He's up there, he's not that far ahead. I did not shift, I just stood up to get that gear rolling again. I think I'm in a 53, 19 or 17, one of those. Not a very big gear, like an 83, 84 inch gear, something like that. We're not really working hard at this point, just kind of rolling with the gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just told Paul that he said he's doing sprints, and Paul was laughing.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't figure out what he was up to. Because the plan was to just get out there and do a reconnaissance today. But you know how it is, you get out with the boys and you never follow the plan. So he's still up there. We got caught at that light, but we're coming up, you know, so I figured right at, we're doing 20 miles an hour. And he's right up there. And he said that he wanted coffee. I don't know if he's already told me or he's going to tell me later, but the plan was we're going to go ahead and stop earlier than we usually do so he can get some coffee, because he just moved his family Thursday after the storm kind of blew over. They just moved to a new home. So he hadn't been sleeping well, his normal schedule. So he said he wanted some coffee. Because he was up late last night. We were texting like 10:30 at night. And so getting up early for this ride. So he rode from his house to meet us. He lives about 5 miles away. It's not that bad. So we're gonna go stop at the store and have him pick up some coffee. We'll top off our bottles. I think he's done with his sprints at this point. So you guys notice we're talking, look at my cadence, 66, 68. When early in the ride or when nothing's going on, cadence does not matter. I'm moving over so a car can come by. And this is what I talk about. Love how much room he gives us. I had moved over for him to come by because they usually pass in your lane. And that's the thing I noticed. When you wave them over, they give you plenty of room, which is cool. I'll take it any day of the week. You know? So, but it's just something psychological about putting your arm out and waving them over. Even if they pass you in your lane, they give you a lot of room, or they come by very slowly, you know. So it's just kind of nice. Keeps the goodwill going. I like that. So I think we've already talked about him wanting coffee, and we're headed there. So we're going to turn right here. We're going to go to our favorite Valero, one of the cleanest stations they have in North Houston. Those boys must clean that. They must clean that place like 4 or 5 times a day. Just clean. So we decided to ride on this edge here because when we got to that intersection, it's very busy for some reason. Usually it's not. So just to let these guys go through, we're staying there, and then I check. Nobody's coming, and then I move over. I like being on the road. I want to talk to Paul.
Up to 80%.
Okay.
I think I was telling Paul that Christian was doing sprints up to 80% of his effort threshold. That's what he had told me. Christian rides his bike like a big kid, and that's the thing you guys have to remember. It's so much fun when you get on the bike. Don't take it too seriously. Enjoy the bike, because he's messing around here. He's riding on that edge, and he comes back on the road, and then he's jumping the little bumps, you know, because Christian rides mountain bikes as well. He's got really good bike handling skills. So right here, he picks it up a little bit. I was wondering, so we're riding now. We're going to turn left to the light about probably a half mile down the road. And there are little lips when you ride on. That's why I don't like that edge. It's not smooth. It's smooth in the middle, and then where it meets the curve, right where it meets the edges of the concrete, right here, Kristen jumps one of those lips. Right there. And then Paul laughs because the asphalt forms almost like a keloid, I'm going to call it. You know, where it meets the concrete. They don't mate very well. The guys who did the work, I don't think they put a lot of time into it. It's not a bike lane. They just put it there because of all the rains that we have to make sure that concrete doesn't get washed away. It keeps the dirt from being washed away. But it's nice. We ride it when necessary. And you can see this is a shoulder. It's nice and wide. And right here, the camera Paul bounced and had a technical
Why is it
issue.
going down? Yeah, was there something here? Oh no.
It's just the weight of the
Was there
motor.
something here?
It flicked the.
Yeah, that's what the handle is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just went down, even though
No,
it's
it looks
tight.
like it just down.
The bump,
Yeah.
the bump made it move.
You can see we handed up the camera.
That plastic.
It's still filming steadily. So he hit a bump and the camera just went down because the motor is so heavy
tight.
that it just.
That's what it is.
Even though it was
You can
tight.
always manually do that. See that?
Yeah.
So the CPU unit for the stabilizer is kind of bulky. So this is our stop. Christian got his coffee. We loaded our bottles. I decided to do a time lapse on this one. I used the iPhone for this one. I was filming in 1080. Next time I'm going to do 4K because the iPhone has 4K on it. It's just hard to edit in those high resolutions. It takes a little bit more time, but I think it's worth the quality of the picture. We're back to 2K filming. You can see the difference. Look how bright this thing is. And because of the Removal S1 stabilizer, the pictures are not jumping around like they used to. So yes, this was a good investment. I really like the fact that it panned out. A product that performs as designed for a change. So here this is after our stop. We're rolling south, and I decided to stay on this.
Right turn at the light bulb.
Yeah, we're going to be turning right. I decided to take this highway because some of the back roads are still underwater. So we're taking this highway and we're going to cut back to a part of that back road that we use. And right here on the corner, I want to point out something. Kristen has a soft tire on the rear. He's not aware of it. And right there when he turns, he almost goes down. He does a fishtail. Right there.
Oh, careful, buddy. Oh, careful,
I
buddy.
did a replay for that.
You okay?
So now,
Flat
he has a
tire.
flat tire.
Turn it here.
So we're pulling in here. It was like I guess it was a slow leak.
Come over here.
And when you get a flat, guys, get as far off the road as possible. Like this gas station right there, we're in here.
Man.
This is where we're gonna do it. If you
caught
by
the
the side of the road and there's a shoulder, don't be anywhere near the white line. Go all the way to the edge if possible. Get away. Just stay far away when you're changing your tires. Because when you're not moving, you're not as visible. Anytime you can,
Go ahead and film it, Paul.
find a spot. So I'm going to hold his bike here while he does this. He's trying to find if there's anything stuck in the tire. I think it was a snake bite, like what we call a pinch flat. Because if you don't stand and you hit a little rock, it doesn't have to be big. I put the the gator skins on my tires for this
Is
ride.
it pinch flat?
Could be.
Paul wanted to know whether it was a pinch flat, is what he asked me, and I told him, I said, could be. You know, we don't know, but there was nothing in the tire, so that's how you start. You don't want to put a tube in there and then get a second puncture. Each one of us had one tube. The good thing about being in a group, if you have multiple flats, well, you know, the other riders can hand you a tube. Second thing is somebody will have a patch kit, worst case scenario. I always carry patches. We ended up having 2 flats on this ride, which for us, I guess it's consistent with our reigns. It's like a 5-year deal for us. We don't have flats that often, so the day was really weird. But there's so much water on the roads that sometimes your tire gets wet. It will attract glass and other things. But I think Christian's was either a pinch flat or something just tapped it. We never figured out what it was. We never found anything. I sped it up. I think it took about 10 minutes to do. And he's wrapping the cartridge because it gets cold, the CO2. I told him I would get him some CO2. I have some at home. I don't use them anymore. I'll take them on the next time we ride and give them to him. It'd be cool if you could save it.
That's the one thing I have against those things, man.
Plus the
There's
next day they get soft quickly because they're not regular air.
Yeah, the CO2 will not last too long in the tire. The next day or so it'll be soft, so you got to pump up. Because it's not, you know, it's not regular air. It gets the job done. I'd much rather use a pump. I've been through those things to where I had to use 2 of them, and I only had 2, and then I had multiple
But you guys see his hands are still clean because his chain's not filthy. Yeah, that's what I talk about, man. Like,
Yeah, I keep my chain clean. I wipe it after every ride. So it picks up dirt. So what I'm doing is I'm checking his wheel to make sure the brakes are not touching.
man, you got your brakes close.
They're not, but his brakes are so close you can't even see between the pad and the wheel. And you want to be able to see, you want to be able to put a nickel between your pads on either side and your wheel. You don't need the brakes right up against your wheel. It doesn't stop you any better. In fact, I don't think it stops you as well. You don't have that tactile feel. So for rim brakes, you want to have enough room to put a nickel in between the pad and your wheel. So whatever adjustment you need to do, he's adjusting his now. There's a little barrel adjuster where you can back out the tension in the cable and the pads open. You want to be able to put a nickel between each pad on either side. That way when you snap the brake, they have a nice jumpy feeling, like they snap. That's what you see me doing. I'm checking it.
Yeah, that's good. You should be able to put
see, you snap it, because when it's too close, it feels mushy.
at least a nickel.
It stops before you can even have any movement. So you don't have much modulation when the brakes are too close to your rim.
So they don't change
I thought I'd mention that here. It's a good spot for it. So this is the first flat we had, and then we're heading out, continuing the ride. And now we're 3 hours into this short ride that we're supposed to do. You know, I mean, granted, the first hour we're checking out neighborhoods, but you know, a 2 hour ride is an hour's ride is a short ride. You know, granted, we're not riding hard today. Yeah, Christian was congratulating me about the jersey. He's checking his rear. And what we're talking about here is that if that flat tire had been on the front, he would have fallen. Because you can't recover the front when you go around a curve like that, because he didn't know. So the good thing was it was on the rear, and he has good handling, so he uses hips to keep that bike from fishtailing out from under him. That's what we're talking about here. And what he's doing is making sure everything's running fine. You know, when you have a flat after you fix it, the first few pedal strokes, make sure that your pads and everything, nothing's rubbing, your chain, everything running fine before you start going full steam again. That's what we're talking about here. He was saying that if it had been the front, he would have gone down. So if you think your front tire is soft, stop slowly and check it out. Because when you need the corner, it can cause you to fall. So anytime there's a doubt about your front tire, stop before you need a corner. And if you must corner and you're not sure about your front tire, take the widest possible line so the bike stays upright as much as possible. And then stop and check that tire as soon as you can. So cars are not the only thing that causes us to fall. Dogs, potholes, mechanic holes, that's the thing about cycling. You can't be afraid to fall if you're riding a bike. It happens. I used to practice how to fall when I was racing. We go on the grass and roll. Ride the bike in the grass, fall and roll. So you don't plant and stick yourself. That's when you have injuries, when you hit one spot. And Paul took some good pictures today. I didn't know he had this thing on that whole time. But he tells me later on that he got some good shots. I thought he had turned it off at the end of the flat repair. But what I'm doing here is just staying on Christian's wheel because I want to keep my effort zone 3 or less. Because I'd much rather be in zone 2, but he rides at 35 kilometers an hour, like 21, 22. So I figure that would get me into zone 3. So if I just stay close, I should be fine. I don't want to ride hard until after this ride because I've been off for too many days. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it just wouldn't feel too good. When you train properly, even the hard rides feel good. You take off a whole week and go hammer yourself, that just sets you back. It takes longer to recover. That's the reason for me wanting to keep the effort down. Because I could hammer if I wanted to, but then the next day everything would hurt. Because I took too many days off. I would be a lot tighter than normal. So that's the reason. That's why you gotta have a progressive training plan and know how to train. I don't care what your age is, 20, 30, doesn't matter. You get out there and you haven't been prepared and you just go and ride balls out. Yeah, you may ride fast that day, but you will pay for it. You will pay for it later. That evening or that night and the next day, you will pay for it. So even if it's 30 minutes, I like to ride every day. Get on the trainer, 30 minutes. That's better than nothing. So you can see I'm in zone 3 and we're doing 34, 35 kilometers an hour. That's about 21, 22, 21 thereabouts. So I'm just staying close to Christian. Here we find out these people flooded out too. Back here, this road gets covered with water. Christian's asking me why did they flood, and I explained to him there's a creek up there.
Yeah.
Paul knows it's called Spring Creek. It's a creek that runs east to west throughout our city. So all these creeks and rivers, when those people release, that's what they end up doing. They go into the bayous. So all the waterways are connected. And so this creek that we're coming up to, back into, you can see the water here that's left over. And you see they dry quickly once they stop releasing. It's not just the rain. The creeks will do their job if it's just the rain. It's just that the reservoirs, we pave all these places to build everywhere, and now we got to store water and the reservoir cannot handle it. That's what they need to improve. Get reservoirs that can hold, that have higher capacity. You can see the road was blocked before. That's what those barriers were. This road all here is usually underwater when we have a lot of rain like that. There's a part of the road coming where the creek actually is on the main highway.
And when it's really bad, the highway gets flooded, and they close the highway. And it's an FM, a farm to market road. So I'm telling Christian, the creek's coming up. So the creek is over this hill. It's a little mound, I guess I should call it. So we get down. There's a house on the right that got flooded twice. That house back there is a mobile home. Last year they got flooded. They just finished their work from the last
you
flood.
can see the sign on the.
You can see the dirt on the road. That's the water. The water was over this road. That red mud. That's the water brings that. Now on the right, as we come to this intersection, the creek is on the right, about maybe 10, 20 yards up there. You see that bridge? That whole area on the right, that's the creek. And I marked the water line here so you guys can see. See, this road was barricaded. That's the barricades are there. That road goes under, right at that corner. It's impassable. This is the creek on the right. We're on the bridge here. And there's a place where Paul said, Paul got a really good shot, and I marked it. So this is Spring Creek. Now, this whole area floods, so they built this bridge. The creek itself is very small. You see all the gray looking, like the grass has like got ash on it? That's the water line. Right there. Everywhere the grass doesn't look green, that's where the water was. That's how much water. That's the creek. It's usually a dry creek. There's a little bit of water. That's even too hot. So this water was all the way out here where we're riding now. All the way here. That's why they have this bridge so long, because that whole place fills up when they dump water from Conroe. This is the stuff that went into Houston and flooded the freeways. All these creeks connect.
Dude, I got some nice footage back there, man.
That's what Paul was talking about.
I got some good footage over there in the creek.
So you can see how quickly the water went down. It comes up quickly and it goes down quickly, because if they don't release, we're good. So we're trying to handle water for different municipalities. That's the problem. What we need is a dam like the Hoover Dam. That would solve all the problems. So right about here, we're going to go about maybe a half mile, and we'll go on an overpass that is probably a mile or so. It's a long overpass up to 5%. It's a climb. About now, it's getting kind of hot. You can see 29C, so we're almost at 90. I would say 80, the upper 80s right now. And it's getting humid and hot. So Paul hands me the camera here.
One less pound you gotta carry.
I told him that's one less pound he's got to carry up that climb, because Christian likes to attack that climb. I don't plan on going hard on that climb. So I told him, give me the camera, you guys can go play. That's one less pound you got to carry up that hill. So all I'm doing here is I'm reading the road. I'm watching for all the little rocks, because the water brings all kinds of debris on the road. Until the sweepers come by, there's a lot of crap in these lanes. So I'm watching it. I don't want to have a flat. That's my cleat squeaking. The humidity got to it. It was annoying. When I got home, I dealt with it. And right about here, I see Paul looking down. He's looking at his bike. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what? So I roll up. Then he tells me he got a flat. So you see that little driveway there? We pass it. We pass it and we stop here. But that's where we end up just walking right there, because it's right there. We walk back there to repair the flat. That's what I mean. Even though this shoulder is wide, we don't want to stand on this shoulder for 10 minutes. So we go to that little driveway. Since it's there, we're way off the road.
More flats than we had in a year. On one.
Because when you're standing on the edge of the road, people don't see you. So it took us about 10 minutes to get through that stuff, making sure there's nothing in it.
I didn't record all of it.
So I don't know what I was doing. I ended up being the last to get off the little driveway.
they're taking off. Christian's going as usual, head of steam up this climb. I decide I'm just gonna ride the climb. I figure I'll catch him on the descent. So I'm trying to make sure my heart rate stays 160 or below if possible.
Paul says it's my turn to have a flat. I told him no thank you.
Yeah, Paul said it's my turn now to have a flat, because both of them have had a flat. I mean, this is like, we don't have flats. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with the ride.
I'm not going to chase because I have to work so much harder. I'll catch them on the downhill.
So yeah, this is almost midway up this climb. This overpass is a sweet climb. I come out here and I do repeats on this thing because it's steep. It gets to like 5% at the steepest point. I don't know if the overlay will show that. But this is where the steepest point is, right here. To put this screen so these maniacs don't try to throw stuff at the train below. You know, our fellow Americans that got nothing to do. You know, they throw stuff at the train when the train's going by. So most overpasses, especially even on freeway overpasses, they put those screens there to discourage people from even looking over.
This is where I'm going to make up ground.
So all I'm doing here is I'm just going to get into a tuck. I'm not even going to pedal. And I just got into a tuck because it's a very steep descent. I got really low and I just pulled up to these guys. And they are not riding hard after climbing anyway. But at this point, I'm trying to figure out we're 3.5 hours into this ride that was supposed to be short and easy. And I'm like, okay, and it's getting hot. 32°C. We're in the 90s. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, how can we shorten this ride and start heading east? Because now we're heading north and then we're going west. Well, we need to go east. That's where we live. So I'm racking my mind. So what's the shortest way to get this ride turned in the right direction? Because I think it's almost, yeah, it's 10:36. So we've been out here since 7. I'm like, no, this was supposed to be a short ride. Because even if you're riding easy, the fact that you're out there on a hot day, it still makes you tired. Because a different kind of stress. So easy rides make you tired too, especially if it's long enough. So at this point, I'm like, you know, it's time to start finding a detour per se. Now Christian with his crazy self, he beats this guy across. This guy's going straight. It's an unprotected left. I just waited for him and I turned behind him.
Cool.
Christian rides that bike like he's 15.
Yeah, I noticed.
You were going to say something.
Which is kind of cool.
This is the part that makes me nervous when I don't have a spare.
I got one. I got one.
So Paul's talking about the fact that
We should be okay. We can't be that bad lucky.
both he and Christian have used up their spares. I thought I got one left. We can't be that
That's why I
bad
put my
lucky.
gator skins on, man. I mean, all the tires are good.
I got my gator skins on for this ride because I knew there'd be water all over the place. And it's a hard rubber compound tire. I've been using that tire on the rear for more than a year and a half. It's still got tread on it. I look at it all the time. It looks fine. So I don't know. And maybe I just got a really good one. But it's just been there forever.
My turn.
And I'm riding it today. I just took the bike off the trainer with the heavy skewer for the trainer and all of that on it. I'm not even changing anything. I just jumped on it and came out. Paul was pointing. He said, your skewer looks weird. It's pointing down. I said, yeah, I do that to accommodate the trainer. The skewer for the trainer on my bike has a special lip on the attachment for the rear wheel. And if you don't put it right, it would chew the paint off, the light speed. So I put it upside down. The skewer that came with the trainer has got a big nut sticking out on the backside, and it just messes up your frame. So I do it upside down. Touch it. At this point, I decided that instead of us continuing to go west, at the stop sign in about a mile, we could just turn left. And that would be the quickest way to head back, because we've really blown the plan here. This is not a short ride, and it's not that easy right now. We're going, there's wind everywhere. What you're hearing is just wind. And Christian's sitting up there at 21, 22, like it's nothing. And so I'm just sitting with the camera here and decided that I'm not pulling. And right now I'm in zone 4. It's getting hot and I'm running out of water. And I'm like, okay. So when you get to that point, you know, it's time. So we decided we're turning left here to shorten the ride. So Christian waves this gentleman through. And we turn. That's why I study the maps out here to find alternative routes. I sit at home sometimes and, you know, not a whole lot going on. And I'll just pull the map of the area up and just study these little streets. This is a little street that will dump us on our return leg. So there's a nice cutoff. Because we had planned to go to the Spring Creek Park and do those climbs that they have in there, but this ride just got bigger than we planned. And once I got to half on my last bottle, I'm like, we need to start heading home. I didn't want to stop somewhere else again. So Christian sits up here for miles on end.
Up there and go back to town. You want to go to Spring Creek?
I'm telling them we're going to turn left to go to town.
Yeah, let's go left.
And Christian wants to know the quickest way home.
You want to go left?
For me, it's faster if I go left or right.
Yeah, left. Left is faster. We've had too many stops today.
So Christian's running out of time as far as his schedule, so he wanted to know the fastest way to get back home, and it's consistent with what I was thinking, so it worked out. So we're going to turn left here, the four-way stop sign. You can see some of the water on the right from our storms. There's a baseball field here on the right from the high school. I think it's I don't know if it's what grade school. It's a school nearby. We're in Tomball, Texas. You gotta say Tomball. I never picked up the southern drawl. I have to actually practice that.
Yeah.
Being in Houston, that's easy because most people in the Houston area are not from Houston anyway. You know, there's a lot of people anyway. I'm sure they got, you know, some.
Car.
I called the cars that nobody would take a wide turn. And all I'm doing back here is just, I'm not even shifting anymore. I don't even know what gear I'm in. I just rolling it casually, not really working hard. All I'm doing is muscle memory and just rolling through the phases of pedaling and just keeping about 21 miles an hour.
Left turn.
So at this point, for me, the ride is pretty much over. We're headed back home. Christian's gonna pull off before we get to our area, but we're cutting through here to get to one of the farm roads, 2920, which we really like. I didn't film on that road. I basically filmed until we got to the stoplight that gets us onto the road. So,
Two more.
I'm basically giving Christian instructions. He does not remember where the turns are through here. A bit of a shortcut to get us to that highway. We've been here a few times, but he hasn't been here that much.
Yep.
So once we turn here, I know there's a light coming up. The light's always red because it goes into like a school that's on the other side, and then this road that goes nowhere. So I sit up right here. It's just hands-free, messing with the camera. I'm still trying to master the removal S1. But from what I've seen on these clips, I mean, I cannot tell you guys how much I was moving that camera around, because having a camera in your hand while you're riding, there's nowhere to keep it stable. This thing works. So I will set up some time to where I will do a video on this thing, because it's the only one that accommodates all the GoPro attachments. And I've already invested in wrist mounts and hand mounts and all that stuff, and the camera bounces. So with this thing on my wrist, it's gonna make good pictures. So I'm excited about it. I only wish they can make it lighter in the future.
Still on?
Still on?
I think so. Is it a red light? Is there a red light? On the back.
On the back?
Yeah, I handed the camera to Paul and I was asking if it was still on. It was, I just couldn't tell.
Well, we managed to get a little bit of a ride in, but it was mostly picking out dry roads. Most of the route we usually ride in was okay, but we could see the water damage. During the storm, this road right here, where you see this truck, was underwater completely. It floods here all the time because it's low. Water was all over there too. So, we got a train here I have to wait for. I don't know if you guys can see the water over there. The water in that retention pond, completely full. That's our floodplain. Everybody builds a retention pond to slow the water down. Doesn't always hold much. That thing's full. This is the tracks before I enter my subdivision. We got a train going through. Ah, good. Perfect timing. Just ended. So it started out nice. It got muggy, it was nicer than I expected this morning. So I hope you guys got to get out today. I wasn't gonna ride today until Paul sent me a text last night. I just really didn't feel like it much. Can be, given the circumstances. So, you know, people are resilient, but I hope our city officials do something, because the next city council meeting I will be attending, because this issue needs to be brought up and dealt with. This kind of stuff can kill a town. I know we got 6.5 million people in the eastern area, but if this continues, you're not going to attract businesses, and you're not going to be attracting people to come live here. Nobody wants to be going through this stuff every year. Last 3 years we got hit, so it's frequent enough. It's not far off anymore. Climate change is happening now. We never used to get these storms every year. Now it's every year. So we better prepare for it. So hope you guys got a chance to get out and get your miles in. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this ride. I'll speed it up from here.